$1 for Beam, that's still my price target for this bull run, even though that's not financial advice. I haven't given up. And if anything, with the price of Beam as of right now going down, I think hypothetically, the lower something is, the more room it has to grow. And if anything, it's actually more of an opportunity for me to scoop up more for quite essentially less, right? If you think about it, compared to weeks and even months ago. However, even besides that, when people out there, they may be thinking that, oh yeah, Beam is going to keep going lower forever. I completely disagree with that, because eventually I think there's going to be a turning point here. And with a project this amazing and with the crypto space, in my opinion, at least in terms of crypto owners, in terms of, the attention and the number of institutional investors, when I take a look at how that's all heading in the right direction, I really don't see why, when it's all said and done, this, altcoin season is going to be bad by any means, because I do believe that the altcoin season is going to be hypothetically very fantastic. And I think this bull run, if anything, is far from over. Generally speaking, even though some people think it's over, I still think there are better days ahead, because even historically speaking, we do know that altcoins, as a worst case scenario, they usually peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. The last Bitcoin halving event happened back in April of last year, so 18 months is actually around October this year. Keep in mind, even based off of history, this is not even close to the worst case scenario in which altcoins usually peak. I do believe there's still better days ahead, even though history doesn't always repeat itself. However, it does tend to rhyme in some cases. And when it comes to Beam, again, it's clearly focused on the right market, because if you take a look at it, what is Beam all about? Let me explain. Beam is an open source blockchain that is specialized for gaming. We all know that when it comes to blockchain gaming specifically, it is on the rise. Take into consideration how, according to Grandview Research, the blockchain gaming market is expected to be worth over $300 billion by 2030. So again, that's a lot of potential right there, in my opinion, at least hypothetically on paper, because that's bigger than some countries' GDP. And when it comes to blockchain gaming, yes, I get it. Sometimes people are kind of iffy about this, but I think the future is very bright, because even if we take a look at the concept, like just basically, right, for play-to-earn games, that's hypothetically giving the opportunity for the average individual, or should I say the average gamer, to actually earn income, potentially, by playing games. Now, granted, this hasn't really taken off in a massive way yet, but it is a good concept in my opinion. I do believe that when it comes to the tokenomics, when it comes to some cases also, the gameplay, which often isn't the best, that right there needs some fixing, but it comes with time, in my opinion. Great things do take time and patience. And I think there's hypothetically good potential here when it comes to play-to-earn games, blockchain gaming, which is why I think Beam could still be a massive player when it comes to the whole crypto space in general. Now, $1 as of right now may seem a little bit impossible. Didn't seem that way not too long ago, right? But as of right now, keep in mind, the price of Beam is, relatively speaking, so low to the point that reaching $1 is actually over a 100x from here currently, which is kind of insane to think about, really. Now, again, people may think this is a bad thing, but if I can actually accumulate more again at the lower point, why is that bad? And it's not like $1 is even that crazy anyways. If it were to go to the price of $1, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $50 billion. Not too bad, right? I get it. It may seem a little bit impossible as of right now, but Dogecoin at one point reached over 80 billion. This was back in 2021, by the way. And BNB reached over 100 billion that year as well. And they reached that at a time where, during the peak of that bull run, there was actually roughly only around 300 million crypto owners. Now there's over 600 million. So actually, in terms of the hypothetical potential for this bull run, I think it could be a lot better. But of course, there's pullbacks on the way. Sometimes there's fun in the market. I totally understand that. But I think, again, the journey is still very far. I view this as a marathon. It's not a sprint for me. I'm not in here to, just be there for a week and then I'm out. No, that's not the case whatsoever. I'm in here for the long term. This is not my style to randomly give up on projects for no reason, especially when I see volatile price movements in the short to medium term. Yeah, I just don't give up like that. However, even besides that, when we take a look at Beam, it is a very solid project in a sense that we'll see how one of the main components of Beam is actually the Beam SDK. Now, if you take a look at SDK, the software development kit, why is this amazing? Because allegedly, this allows game developers to choose from a variety of tools that can be used to fuel and structure their in-game blockchain elements. So it's a pretty good touch, in my opinion, when it comes to Beam having this, right? Not to mention, Beam has other aspects too, like for instance, BeamSwap, which is a decentralized exchange. Now, you also take a look at the Beam Layer 0 bridge, which is a bridging solution to transfer tokens between Beam and other blockchains. So that's pretty interesting. Also Sphere, which is an NFT marketplace, not to mention BeamOS, which is a portal for exploring tools and apps on the chain. And not to mention, last but not least, the Beam Block Explorer, which is a tracking platform for all Beam transactions and statistics. Now, this is all just very amazing in my opinion. Now, again, people may think, okay, who cares about this? But again, if we take a look at Beam, basically, it is focused on blockchain gaming. All of this stuff is just more so of an accessory in my opinion, but still, nonetheless, Beam, a very amazing project with a good community, by the way, right? The community is very solid. Like in terms of the passion, it's still there. I get it. It's a little bit hard to believe in something that isn't doing the best. I understand that in some cases, but when it comes to other projects, usually the community just gives up very easily. But when it comes to Beam, the amount of holders is still very impressive. It's actually sitting at around 70,000 as of right now, so it's not bad. Not to mention, you take a look at when it comes to, the drive, it's still there when it comes to the community. However, also on top of that, it has good exchange listings. It's listed in these big exchanges. So I think this does really help play to its, benefit, especially moving forward and especially once the market starts picking up again, which I hypothetically think it will. Because just imagine, April, May, June, July comes along. This could be amazing. And especially Beam being one of these big players in the blockchain gaming space, this could be something special here. However, not to mention, when people complain that Beam isn't decentralized, I'm going to have to disagree with that because we take a look at how Beam, what created or quote unquote launched Beam in the first place, right? It's something called Merit Circle. Now, you may be thinking, okay, who cares about Merit Circle and more specifically the Merit Circle DAO? The amazing thing about this is that a DAO, a DAO, is a decentralized autonomous organization. Take into consideration how when it comes to a DAO, it is an entity that is designed to be fully autonomous without a central point of control. Now, you may be thinking, okay, how are the rules even established? Now, the rules of a DAO are established by a core team of committee members and is executed through smart contracts. And to obtain voting power or membership in a DAO, users are typically required to own its governance token, which in this case, you take a look at how anyone who holds Beam can actually vote. So it's pretty amazing. When you take a look at the Merit Circle DAO again, that's pretty much as decentralized as it gets. When you take a look at Beam, it's a very amazing, fundamentally sound project in my opinion. And you combine that with the fact that there's currently over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research, more than ever before in history. Again, like I mentioned earlier in the video, the amount of crypto owners as of right now is just through the roof. And when I take all that into consideration, Beam again at the price of $1, that really wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I get it. It's a little bit hard to believe that, especially seeing how Beam is doing as of right now. But again, I think better days are ahead and I'm going to continue to accumulate Beam. Anytime I do earn income, just dollar cost averaging, accumulate, hold, and I just wait because I think better days are ahead. I think Beam is a very solid project. I get it. It's hard to believe this, but I've learned time and time again that usually when people are very apprehensive about getting in, that's usually a sign for me to really believe in something or just the whole place in general. Because if anything, right, hypothetically, the way you take a look at it is that accumulating when things are the lowest, or should I say pretty much close to the bottom, isn't that the best? Let's say if things do go up, I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not saying I'm going to be 100% correct or something like that, but that's just theoretically, I think, a good strategy for me. But still, you know what? I'm not giving up and I'm going to still be accumulating because anytime I do earn income, again, acquiring, holding, and just waiting, because Beam at the price of $1 during this bull run, that right there wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I think it's a very solid project, focus on the right market, good community. Yeah, I just don't see any good reason for me to give up. I still believe in it. And make sure to subscribe if you gained value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's only the captain and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.